every week at Business at Breakfast, one of the members gets the opportunity to share with the group a little bit about their business. They get to, no, they don't. I'll just pull them out of the crowd. I'll tell you how to speak. You'll give it a go. Today we have the wonderful, here we go. I'll show her first and then it was a hard one today, but actually Tanya Leschev. You're going to be our speaker today. So here's what I want you to do. So Tanya, I met Tanya, was it this year? It was this year. Feels like it was over a year ago, but it was actually about June this year. I happened to be down in Sydney, and then I met you at a thing in Sydney for those 3 days that I was there, and then come across you, and we've been buddies ever since. But Tanya works in property, and she lives in down in the Sydney area, probably Central Coast, not entirely sure, just a bit up from
in between both.
Yeah, in between. Okay. So anyhow, not in Queensland. And she's a buyer's advocate, which is different to a real estate agent. A real estate agent sells the house, but a buyer's advocate helps the buyer get the house ready to be sold, correct?
Vendor's advocate, then there's a buyer's agent.
Sorry.
Yep.
Oh, buyer's agent. Okay, vendor's advocate. Okay, so and the vendor being the person that's selling the house. So she helps the house get ready before it ends up going for sale. And I suppose in all of that, we've had conversations before. That means that they could, in theory, pick their own real estate agent. You just help them get it ready. Or they could just go, well, now that you've done all that, do you know who I could get to sell it? And then you could sort that out with them as well. All right, perfect. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to give us your elevator pitch again, and then the quick history story of how you became a vendor's advocate.
Okay.
And then stop talking. We'll ask questions. Go.
Done. I'm Tanya Leschev from Picture Perfect Properties. I'm a vendor's advocate, so I help people sell their home that's unrenovated. Well, I get it ready for sale before it goes to market. And a buyer's agent, so people looking to invest or buy their first home, I make sure that they buy a property that can easily be renovated so they can maximize their equity and move into their dream home, not somebody else's dream. So the reason why I got into a vendor's advocacy field is I've been in property for 25 years. My husband and I bought and sold, renovated, dealt with really bad tradies, real estate agents, mortgage brokers, conveyancers. So we've experienced the worst of the worst, death in the family. So, and I realized during that journey that I had nobody to have my back. So we kind of fumbled our way through and screwed up quite a bit, trusted the wrong people. And so I had an epiphany when I turned 50 a couple of years ago that I'm not going to go work in corporate anymore. I'm going to go back into property and help people that are going through trauma in their life. I'm their backup person. I help them through all the processes of renovating, dealing with tradies, real estate agents, because really nobody wants to deal with those people because they never really have your interest at heart. It's always about their bottom line. And yeah, so that's why I got into it, to help people through that journey in their life, or through that stage of their life.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. Who's got some questions for Tanya?
I do.
Yep. Roger first, wherever you are. There you are. Roger first, and then we've got Fiona.
I'm really interested in, you used the word property advocate.
Yeah.
The question is, you use vendor advocate so often. You want to use vendor advocate as your title? In other words, vendor sounds more logical from the standpoint of when I listen to you. I understand that as much better than property advocate. Have you thought about changing that?
The reason why I have, yeah, sorry, Roger. The reason why I have property advocate is I'm also a buyer's agent. So there's not enough room there for me to write vendor's advocate and buyer's agent. So I just came up with the property advocate because I work in all areas of property.
Okay. That answers the questions. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the question.
Fiona.
And can you help people who are buying and selling and renovating or improving property for sale in and out of your geographic area? Or are
Yes.
you
It doesn't matter whereabouts in Australia it is. I can help them.
even with the negotiations with tradies?
Absolutely, because I've got access to tradies all over Australia, reputable tradies. I've been networking for a long time.
Awesome. Thanks.
Someone else have a question for Tanya?
And another one.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
How do you get paid? Do I pay
get-
you up front? Do you get a cut? How does that work?
So as a vendor's advocate, I get paid by the real estate agent. So when the property is ready to go to market, then I negotiate a commission with the real estate agent. So the buyer or the vendor does not have to pay me a cent. So it's a
And
free
as
service,
buyer's
basically.
advocate, the other side, when I'm buying something, do I pay you?
So as a buyer's agent, yes, there is a fee. Again, it depends on the kind of property and what location I'm looking to buy for that client, and how much work is involved. But generally, the fee is around $5,000. But because my niche is finding unrenovated properties, it is a lot faster. The process is a lot faster because you're actually building your own dream, like you're creating your own vision for the home rather than buying somebody else's. Because as you know, when you walk into a home, you go, don't really like the kitchen, maybe I'll get that updated, or don't like the bathroom, or there's always something about the house you don't like. But buying an unrenovated property, then you can basically put the kitchen that you want and the bathroom that you want. So it's that one cost rather than having to upgrade or to just change it around.
Kathy, you got your hand up?
Thank you, Tanya. That was very informative. How do you qualify your tradies? How do you determine who is going to be on your referral list or partner list when you suggest that someone work with them?
So basically, I was part of a group called BNI, and I have a lot of friends that are still within that group, and it's Australia-wide, well, it's worldwide. But so when you become a member of BNI, you actually have to, there's a lot of strict guidelines that you need to follow. And one of them being you have to be honest and you have to do what you say you're going to do. Otherwise, they'll basically kick you out of that group, and nobody wants that. So I've been recommended by BNI members saying, look, if you need a tradie in Queensland, I have 2-3 guys that I use, because there's going to be lawyers in that group. There's other members in that group that have used these tradies, and they are 100% trustworthy, do the job properly, on time, on budget. So I don't have any hesitation at all, like working with these tradies.
That's beautiful. BNI has a great reputation. Thank you
Yes, it
so
does.
much.
Excellent. Thank you. Roger, you've got your hand up?
Yeah, me again. I'm really curious. You say you negotiate. You have to negotiate each time on every deal. Is that correct? For
Pretty much,
your
yeah.
fee?
Yep. See, what happens is I don't know what it's like in America, but in Australia, the problem is that a lot of real estate agents, well, probably 90%. When I say negotiate, I mean negotiating on the commission, because it's between 2 to 3% commission. So I tried to keep it down to the 2% rather than the 3% or in between. And also the marketing costs. There's quite a lot of marketing costs. Some real estate agents manage to ask their vendors to pay like up to $5,000-$6,000 in marketing. So that's a waste of money for me, in my eyes. And I basically try and stop the vendors from having to pay that to the real estate agent, because they're making enough money. Because I'm giving them a property that's ready for sale. It'll sell. They probably will be lucky to do one open home. It goes on the market. It sells very quickly. So there's really not a lot of effort for the real estate agents. And I'm working with the buyers, with the vendor. The real estate agent really doesn't have any headaches. They just put it on the market. That's it. It's done.
Okay.
So they're happy to work with people like myself.
Sure. let me ask a second question, and that is this. Have you considered putting together a package, an educational package for negotiation? In other words, training people to be negotiators because you have so much experience.
I could do that, but the problem is, let's be very honest. Most people will probably buy and sell a couple of times in their life, and I don't think they're really going to want to understand how to negotiate with agents unless they become a flipper, they become a renovator. That's when I actually have DIY coaching programs that I can offer to people that want to do it. They have the confidence to do it on their own, but they just need that little bit of help. So yeah, I do actually have those packages available on my website.
Good
Okay.
point though. Good point though, is
Yeah.
really you're only really looking to move. You're not looking to move house every year,
Yeah.
right? You're only really going to do it. If you follow the barefoot investor steps, which I didn't understand about property or money until he said this. You know, if you're going to buy a house, you have to live in it for 10 years. So make sure you like the place that it's at. Whereas I was taught, which is why I didn't want to ever buy a house, I was taught that if you don't like it, you just move to another one. But discover every time you move, it's going to cost you like $20,000 in commission. Then you've got to pay another $15,000 in fees to buy the next house. And then, of course, it's going to cost you to move. And I've just gone, gosh, you could just rent and just pay for the move. Like, why would you own anything? It seems like such a waste. But that's the point, is you're supposed to be in it for a while, quite some time before you move again.
Hey,
Okay.
excuse me. See, I was not clear when I was asked the question. The question I'm really asking is, Tanya, what about creating a negotiating package about negotiation, not about homes, but specifically about negotiation because of your experience? You've learned how to communicate with whoever you're dealing with and all the parties involved. And so it seems to me that this would be a whole nother business for you.
So you're basically saying to how to negotiate with real estate agents, how to negotiate with tradies.
No,
just real estate
negotiate
agents.
with anybody.
Oh, with anybody.
How to be the president of the United States. You need some negotiation skills. Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, I bring it up because, I'll get in trouble here. But you know what's really interesting is I actually have all Donald Trump's sales books. And before he became president, right, he wrote really cool stuff about sales. And he said, really, we need someone in charge that's a trained negotiator, like actual salesmen that do this every day, not just really nice people that kiss a lot of babies. Like, you need people who actually know what negotiation is, because that's how you get stuff done. Years and years and years later, when he puts his hand up and says, I'll be president, and Simon was telling me, I've gone, well, it doesn't surprise me because he's been saying it in his sales books for like 20 years. So I'm not getting into any of people actually being the president, but yes, that was the idea years ago, was politicians should have some sort of skill. So that's kind of what
Absolutely.
you're suggesting, isn't it, Roger, is just in general, people need negotiation skills.
They do.
How do you get the children to
I was going to say, you need to be a
house?
negotiator with your kids, with your husband.
How do you get the children to back in the house without screaming at you like every day about how much they don't want to do it? Couple of
Good
negotiation skills is probably the nicer way to do it. That is not necessarily how I do it. Excellent. Thank you, Roger. Tanya, something to think about.
Exactly. Food for thought.
Lucia.
Actually, my question, thanks, Tanya. My question is around young people. Like, what age is the youngest person that you have helped in your work?
21.
21. Yeah, because
Also,
that's where
because-
I see the benefit of what Roger's
Yep.
talking about, is for young people to learn negotiation the way that you have learned it, you know, like
A hard way,
yeah,
yeah.
like that, for them to be
Yeah.
learning how to flip properties, how to do it, but do it at like what it takes the negotiation skills that it takes to create what you're creating as a young person, I think would be phenomenal. Yeah, a phenomenal opportunity for young people. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to be working with a mortgage broker who's in his late 20s, and his target market is the first home buyers and first time investors. So basically, I'm going to be working with his clients to help them either buy a property that's, well, obviously it's going to be unrenovated, because young people don't have don't have a lot of money. There's a lot of fear around working with tradies, because most of them, that will screw you over if they can. And I'm working with a lady tomorrow that's it's happened to. So I'm going to go see her.
Unfortunately, my doorbell's going. I've got to go.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Yes,
Thank
I
you,
am
Tanya.
actually going to be working out a course for people that are like early 20s, just starting out in the industry.
Excellent. Thank you. Fiona, your hand is up, and then Roger, yours is either still up or you've got another question. So I'm just going to go with Fiona first. Yep.
Tanya, do you help property investors or only owner occupiers?
Yep. Property investors, I do.
Thanks.
Excellent. All right. Well, look at that. Thank you, Tanya, for being our speaker today. Isn't it amazing how just a small amount of explanation from you and silence allows for a large range of questions for us to really delve into what is it that we really want to know about you, about properties, and things like that as well. Thank you for being our speaker today, Tanya. And
Thanks, Misty.
You're welcome. And thank you, audience, for participating in the conversation and coming through with some questions as well.